Hello friends, we have already studied equivalence relation. Today we are going to see one important equivalence relation known as congruence modulo n. Let n be fixed positive integer. Two integers a and b are said to be congruent modulo n if and only if n divides a minus b, and we write this as a is congruent to b modulo n. Therefore, a is congruent to b modulo n if and only if n divides a minus b. That is, if and only if a minus b is equal to n into some integer k. For example, is congruent to 3 modulo 4 because 4 divides 15 minus 3. 15 minus 3 is 12 and 4 divides 12. So obviously 15 is congruent to 3 mod 4, or we can say that 9 is congruent to minus 1 modulo 2, as 2 divides 9 minus minus 1. 9 minus minus 1 is 9 plus 1, 10, and we know that 2 divides 10. So obviously 9 is congruent to minus 1 modulo 2. But observe that if n does not divide a minus b, then a is incongruent to b modulo n, and we write this as a is not congruent to b modulo n. For example, eight is not congruent to 3 modulo 6 because 6 does not divide 8 minus 3. 8 minus 3 is 5 and 6 does not divide 5. So obviously 8 is not congruent to 3 modulo 6. Or we can say that 24 is not congruent to minus 2 modulo 3 because 3 does not divide 24 minus minus 2. 24 minus minus 2 is 26, and we know that 3 does not divide 26. So obviously 24 is not congruent to minus 2 modulo 3. So congruence, a is congruent to b mod n if and only if n divides a minus b. Now we will see some properties of this congruence. So consider the theorem. Let n greater than 1 be fixed integer. Let a, b, c, d be arbitrary integers. Then the following properties hold. The first one, A is congruent to A mod n. This is nothing but the relation of congruence is reflexive relation. Second, if A is congruent to B mod n, then B is also congruent to A mod n. This means that relation of congruence is symmetric. If A is congruent to B mod n and B is congruent to C mod n, then A is congruent to C mod n. This means that the relation of congruence is transitive. That is, the relation of congruence is reflexive, symmetric and transitive. So obviously it is equivalence relation. So congruence modulo n is an equivalence relation. If A is congruent to B mod n, then A plus C congruent to B plus C mod n. If A is congruent to B mod n, then AC congruent to BC mod n. If A is congruent to B mod n and C is congruent to D mod n, then A plus C congruent to B plus D mod n. If A is congruent to B mod n and C is congruent to D mod n, then AC is congruent to BD mod n. If A is congruent to B mod n, then A raised to k is congruent to B raised to k mod n for any positive integer k. So we will see these properties of congruence one by one. Consider the first one. We want to prove that A is congruent to A mod n, that its congruence relation is reflexive relation. So we know that A is congruent to A mod n if and only if n divides A minus A and A minus A is 0. We know that n divides 0. Every number divides 0. So as n divides 0, that is n divides a minus a. This implies that a is congruent to a mod n. Our definition of congruence: a is congruent to b mod n if and only n divides a minus b. So using that, as we know that a number divides 0, 0 can be written as a minus a, and if n divides a minus a is congruent to a mod n. This implies that congruence relation is reflexive relation. Now see the second. We want to prove that congruence modulo n is symmetric relation. So it is given that a is congruent to b mod n. We have given that a is congruent to b mod n. By definition of congruence, this implies n divides a minus b. By definition of congruence modulo n divides a minus b. But if n divides a minus b, it also divides minus of a minus b. And minus of a minus b is nothing but b minus a. So n divides b minus a. So again, by definition of congruence, this implies b is congruent to a mod n. Therefore, a congruent to b mod n implies that b is also congruent to a mod n. This means that the relation of congruence modulo n is symmetric relation. Now in the third part, we will prove that congruence modulo n is transitive relation. So consider the third part. It is given that a is congruent to b mod n and b is congruent to c mod n. This implies that n divides a minus b and n divides b minus c. So this implies that this is by definition of congruence. Now use the divisibility property. If a divides b and a divides c, a divides b plus c. So n divides a minus b plus b minus c by property of divisibility. This implies minus b plus b gets cancelled, n divides a minus c, and again by definition of congruence modulo n, a is congruent to c mod n by definition of congruence. So what this implies? A congruent to b mod n and b congruent to c mod n implies that a is also congruent to c mod n. This means that the congruence modulo n is transitive relation. Therefore, from part first, second and third above, congruence modulo n is reflexive symmetric and transitive relation implies that congruence modulo n is equivalence relation. So we have proved the first three parts, and the first three parts together gives us that congruence modulo n is equivalence relation. Now consider the fourth part. It is given that A is congruent to B mod n, and we want to prove that A plus C is congruent to B plus C mod n, where C is any arbitrary integer. Because it is given that A is congruent to B mod n divides A minus B. So this implies n divides, we will add C and subtract C. So A plus C minus B by adding and subtracting C. This implies n divides in bracket A plus C minus B plus C. From these two we take minus sign common and collect them in brackets. So n divides A plus C minus B plus C. This implies, by definition of congruence, A plus C is congruent to B plus C modulo n, by definition of congruence again. Similar is the fifth part. We want to show that if A is congruent to B mod n, then AC is congruent to BC mod n for any integer C. So it is given that A is congruent to B mod n. This means that n divides A minus B by definition of congruence. We want to prove that AC is congruent to BC mod n. So if n divides A minus B, n also divides C into A minus B by property of divisibility. So if n divides A minus B, it also divides C into bracket A minus B, that is n divides CA minus CB. So by definition of congruence, AC or CA is congruent to BC mod n. AC or CA both are equal, multiplication is commutative. So CA or AC both are same, and therefore n divides CA minus CB means that AC is congruent to BC mod n. Now consider the sixth part. It is given that A is congruent to B mod n and C is congruent to D mod n. This implies that n divides A minus B and n divides C minus D. We want to prove that A plus C is congruent to B plus D mod n. So if n divides A minus B and n divides C minus D, we want A plus C congruent to B plus D. So we will add these two. We have A minus B plus C minus D by property of divisibility. If n divides A minus B and it also divides C minus D, it divides the addition of them too. So A minus B plus C minus D. Now I will collect A and C together and B and D together. So this implies n divides A plus C minus B plus D by making some adjustment. Only we collect A and C together and B and D together, but by definition of congruence, this implies that A plus C is congruent to B plus D modulo N. Again by definition of congruence. So observe that if A is congruent to B mod N and C is congruent to D mod N, A plus C will be congruent to B plus D mod N. Now consider the seventh part. It is given that A is congruent to B mod N and C is congruent to D mod N. This implies that N divides A minus B and N divides C minus D. This is by definition of congruence. Now use the property of divisibility. If N divides A minus B, N divides C into bracket A minus B and N divides C minus D. So N divides B into bracket C minus D. So we have multiplied here by C. We know that if N divides A minus B, it also divides multiple of A minus B. So I take that multiple to be C. N divides C into A minus B. Also N divides C minus D, so it divides multiple of C minus D. I take that multiple to be B. And N divides B into C minus D. So this implies that N divides AC minus BC and N divides BC minus BD. Now add these two. So obviously N divides AC minus BC plus BC minus BD. BC gets cancelled and we have N divides AC minus BD. So by definition of congruence, AC is congruent to BD mod N. So observe that if A is congruent to B mod N and C is congruent to D mod N, then AC is congruent to BD mod N. The last part, if it is given that A is congruent to B mod N A is congruent to B mod N, this implies that N divides A minus B by definition of congruence. This implies that N divides A minus B into multiple, integer multiple. It is A raised to K minus 1 plus A raised to K minus 2 into B, A raised to K minus 3 into B square, etc. plus B raised to K minus 2 into A plus B raised to K minus 1. So if N divides A minus B, by property of divisibility, it divides any integral multiple. So I will take integer multiple to be this term. So it obviously divides. Now if you do the product, this implies that N divides A into A raised to K minus 1, that is A raised to K, minus A into A raised to K minus 2 into B, that is A raised to K minus 1 into B, A raised to K minus 2 into B square, plus etc. plus B raised to K minus 2 into A square plus B raised to K minus 1 into A, minus multiply by B, A raised to K minus 1 into B, A raised to K minus 2 into B square, minus A raised to K minus 3 into B cube and so on, minus, if you multiply, it is B raised to K minus 1 minus B raised to K. Observe that this A raised to K minus 1 into B gets cancelled, A raised to K minus 2 into B square gets cancelled and so on, A raised to k minus 1. This last term I am writing for this one. It is b raised to k minus 1a. B raised to k minus 1 into a minus. So b raised to k minus 1a, b raised to k minus 1a gets cancelled. All the term gets cancelled. This term will get cancelled with the previous, etc. And we get n divides a raised to k minus b raised to k. When you write down these terms properly, we will get every term gets cancelled with this and remains only a raised to k and b raised to k. So n divides a raised to k minus b raised to k. So by definition of divisibility, obviously a raised to k is congruent to b raised to k mod n. Therefore, if a is congruent to b mod n, a raised to k is also congruent to b raised to k mod n for every positive integer k. Now note, we have seen the properties of congruence, but one of the property, that is cancellation law, may not hold good in congruence modulo n. That is, if AC is congruent to BC mod n, then A may not be congruent to B mod n. For example, that is, we are not able to cancel C. For example, 18 is congruent to 6 modulo 12. Why? Because 12 divides 18 minus 6. 18 minus 6 is 12 and we know that 12 divides 12. So 18 is congruent to 6 modulo 12. We will write down this 18 as 2 into 9 and write down this 6 as 2 into 3. Observe that we are not able to cancel this 2 because 9 is not congruent to 3 modulo 12. If you cancel 2, we get 9 and remains 9 and 3. But we have 9 is not congruent to 3 modulo 12, that is, we are not able to cancel this 2. So cancellation law may not hold true in congruence. But observe that if you see this common multiple, that is 2 and 12, the GCD of 2 and 12 is 2. So this remaining part, that is 9 and 3, it is congruent modulo 12 divided by GCD of 12 and 2, because 2 is common number. So I will take this common part and take the GCD of 12 and 2. GCD of 12 and 2. So this will become congruence. That is, 9 is congruent to 3 modulo 12 upon GCD is 2. 12 by 2 is 6. Observe that 9 is congruent to 3 modulo 6 because 6 divides 9 minus 3. 9 minus 3 is... So what is the theorem? The theorem says that if CA is congruent to CB mod n, then A is congruent to B modulo n by D, where D is GCD of C and N. If D is the GCD of C and N, then A is always congruent to B modulo N by D. Observe why. So see the proof of this. We have given that CA is congruent to CB mod N. So by definition of congruence, this implies that N divides CA minus CB. Also, N divides CA minus CB. We have given that D is the GCD of C and N. This implies that D divides C also and D divides N also. D divides C means C is equal to D into some integer and N is equal to D into some integer for some integers R and S, such that GCD of R and S is 1 because D is the greatest common divisor. So obviously there is no number common to R and S for integer R and S where GCD of R and S comes to be 1 because D is the greatest common divisor. There will be no common divisor in R and S, and so that they are relatively prime. So we have this. Now see, we have N divides CA minus CB and we have given that CA is congruent to CB mod N. So put the values now. We are able to put N is equal to DS. So use this step 1 and step 2 together. From step 1 and 2, N is nothing but DS. So we will write down DS divides C. C is nothing but DR. So DR into A minus DR into B. So I will take DR common. This implies DS divides DR into bracket A minus B. D gets cancelled because D is GCD. It is not equal to 0. So D gets cancelled. This implies S divides R into bracket A minus B. But we know that GCD of R and S is 1. So obviously S will not divide R because their GCD is 1. So this implies S divides A minus B. Means that A is congruent to B mod S because GCD of R and S is 1 implies S does not divide R, and obviously S divides A minus B, and therefore A is congruent to B mod S. But what is S? See from here, what is S? S is nothing but N by D, and therefore A is congruent to B mod S value is nothing but N by D by second. So observe that we are not able to cancel C, but that will become congruent to N by D. So A is congruent to B mod N by D. If CA is congruent to CB mod N, we can't directly cancel C. That result is not true. So cancellation is not true always. So we have seen today what is meant by congruence modulo N. Congruence modulo N is equivalence relation. Cancellation law do not hold. Incongruence and many properties of congruence. Enough for the day. Thank you.